All right, shalom, shalom. First off, give all praise, honor, and glory unto
unto Yahweh,
Yahweh, by Hashem,
Ba'ashem,
Yahawashi,
Yahawashi,
by Hashem,
Ba'ashem,
Rakakadash.
Rakakadash.
Give double honors to the apostles and the elders of GMS. Salutes and honors to the elect, all the brothers across the four corners who are enduring in truth and sincerity, all the men and the women who follow. And this is the brother Karataza.
This is Brother Yatazakba.
This is Nebraska for GMS Fort Nebraska. Coming back at you with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahawashi Yahawashi. I'm not sure what we're going to title this one, but today we're going into um, the original Christians. Okay, the true Christians of the Bible we know are Jake. Okay, so we just want to kind of paint a picture of how it was, in that first century, AD to be a Christian, and Lord's will is edifying. Lord's will, we're not too all over the place because it's a lot of information. I don't want to just like dump it on you, but Lord's will, we're edifying. So, kind of with that being said, let's get this right here.
Khan, so this is the AI overview on Christians in Antioch. It says the believers in Antioch were the first to be called Christians in the Bible, according to Acts chapter 11, verse 26.
Right, right. So we're gonna get it. Just matter of fact, let's read. Keep reading, Baba Shah.
It says the death of Stephen, the first Christian martyr, led to many Greek-speaking believers fleeing Jerusalem for Antioch. And really, Yahawashi was the first Christian martyr, but outside of Yahawashi, you can count Stephen. It says the church in Antioch was a mix of Jews and Gentiles, and the community began to take on a distinct identity from the Jewish community.
Right, right. So it says that once Stephen got killed, basically, you had a influx of people into Antioch, and the scriptures back that up. So let's actually start at Acts 11 and 19, and we're gonna read down.
So it says, now they which were scattered abroad upon the persecution that arose about Stephen traveled as far as Phoenice and Cyprus and Antioch.
Right. So that persecution about Stephen, remember, that's when he was stoned. All right, and he gave his life, for this truth. Go ahead.
Preaching the word to none but unto the Jews only.
Right. So you had, you know, people scattered. It said they which were scattered abroad. So they went to different cities, to Phoenix, to Cyprus, and of course Antioch being one of them. Now let's see, because I got some time. Go ahead. Read this right here, Baba Shah.
Right. So it says in the Bible, Antioch was a large, diverse, and influential city that played a key role in the early spread of Christianity. Antioch was located in modern day Turkey on the Orontes River and was about 300 miles north of Jerusalem. Antioch was the third largest city in the Roman Empire after Rome and Alexandria.
Right. So you can imagine, the Roman Empire today, which is America, and imagine Antioch being the third largest city. So that's like you got Rome, which is the biggest city, like being like a New York, and then you got like a Chicago for Alexandria or Los Angeles. I'll say for for
Alexandria.
Alexandria, and Chicago being like an Antioch, or a Houston being an Antioch. Major hubs of people. So when you go to the map, you can see they're on the water. All right, they're a port city. So what happens when you have a port city? Matter of fact, let's go back to that. Uh,
Con
yeah,
says and oh you
yeah,
importance.
come.
Antioch was a major trade hub located on the route between Rome and China. It was also the place where Yahweh followers were first called
Right.
Christians.
So the major trade hub. Not only is it on the Silk Road, okay, going, from east to west, but it's on the Mediterranean. So you have anybody going anywhere is going to stop there. And since the third largest city, you're going to get an influence of what? People, an influence of ideas, culture, foods. That's just like here in the U.S. Like New Orleans is a big port city. New Orleans is known for what? Their culture, their food. Why? Because they're getting a lot of influence and influx from, of course, their French origins. But you get a little bit from everybody. Miami's a big port city. Look at their culture. There's a matter of fact, Chicago is actually a port city as well because it's on the Lake Michigan. So when you have these big port cities, it brings a lot of attention. So you'll have people that will leave Jerusalem, leave Damascus, leave these places, and they'll go to big cities like Antioch and search for jobs and search for opportunities. And the gospel came right along with it. Okay, um, let's get back to kind of.
So it says Acts chapter 11.
I
We didn't
think
finish
that, yeah.
19.
Okay, kind of.
So it says, now they which were scattered abroad upon the persecution that arose about Stephen traveled as far as Phoenice and Cyprus and Antioch, preaching the word to none but unto the Jews only. And some of them were men of Cyprus and Cyrene, which when they were come to Antioch spake unto the Grecians, preaching the Lord Yahawashi.
Right. So these guys came to Antioch. They spoken to the Grecians. All right, and we can just we'll get it for edification's sake, but these weren't white guys in togas. Okay, these were Israelites. Okay, so to speak, in togas. Okay, can we get this?
So this is Strong's G slack. His screen is messed. Strong's G 1675. It says Hellenistus. And says a Hellenist, one who imitates the manner and customs or the worship of the Greeks and use the Greek tongue, used in the New Testament of Jews born in foreign lands and speaking Greek.
Exactly. The Grecians are Jake.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Greek speaking Jews.
Exactly. Yep.
So let's get the example that we had for this guy. 24 Baba Rashad.
Acts chapter 18, verse 24. And a certain Jew named Apollos, born at Alexandria, an eloquent man and mighty in the scriptures, came to Ephesus.
Not only he born from the big three, he's from Alexandria. Okay, and his name is Apollos, which goes back to what? To Apollo. Apollo is one of the Olympian deities in classical Greek and Roman religion. All right, Greek and Roman mythology. Apollo has been recognized as the god of archery. So this guy is named after a Greek god. But what did it say about him? It said that he was a Jew born in Alexandria. All right, so he obviously his parents, were adhering to the Greek culture, to the Greek lifestyle. But they called him an eloquent man and mighty in the scriptures. Okay, and he went to Ephesus, which we know there was a big church at Ephesus. So we have a book of Ephesians.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm going to eliminate some of these tabs as we go. We can get this real quick though.
When you get into the name Apollos, the Strong's G 625, it says given by Apollo, a learned Jew from Alexandria and mighty in the scriptures, who became a Christian and a teacher of Christianity.
Right, he became a Christian, which means, because I want to get this, while we're here and make this point, because when you say Christian, in the new term of it, like in today, anybody can be a Christian. You can have a church, and the church full of, you have a white guy, a Mexican, a Moabite, or I'll say it in English terms. You have a white guy, a black guy, a Mexican, East Indian, a Chinese, and a South African, all in the same church, calling themselves Christians. But when this term Christian was given in these times, it was given to people, it was given to Jake, dark skinned people. Okay? So it's easier to single out a Christian by the way that they look. Today you couldn't do that because anybody could be a Christian, by the newspeak definition of it. But in these times, what I'm trying to say is Christians had a distinct look, aka like them niggas. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, can we get
What's that?
the
Okay,
derogatory?
Khan. Okay, so let's go and get this is in the commentary for Acts chapter 11 and for verse 26. We're going to just get straight to the point for the line where it says the disciples were first called Christians in Antioch. So it says it's like you want me to read from where you have it
Well,
here?
whatever.
Okay, yeah,
You up a
you
little?
scroll up just a little bit.
Okay. Right.
One more. Yeah, like right there.
Okay.
So it says they have been called disciples, they have been called saints, believers, brothers, witnesses, followers of the way, Nazarenes. Now they will be called Christians. In Latin, the ending "ian" meant the party of. A Christian was of the party of Yahawashi. Christians were sort of like saying Yahawashiites or Yahawashi people, describing the people associated with Yahawashi and Mashiach. I'll go down to the next one. It says soldiers, and let me know if you want me to skip
Yeah,
over
yeah,
anything.
you good.
It says soldiers under particular generals in the Roman army identified themselves by their general's name by adding "in" to the end. A soldier under Caesar would call himself a Caesarian. Soldiers under Yahawashi Hamashiach could be called Christians. In Antioch, they probably first used the term Christians to mock the followers of Yahawashi. Antioch was famous for its readiness to jeer and call names. It was known by its witty epigrams.
Right. So it's just like today, like you have like people from New York, like he's a fucking goofy, or it's like calling somebody weird in Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
That's them is fighting words.
Yeah,
You call somebody weird, no more, he's a weirdo.
yeah.
It's nothing. But you go to L.A. and you call somebody a weirdo, and you might get shot. you know, but that's just how it is. You gonna go ahead.
So it says, but as the people of Antioch called the followers of Yahawashi the Yahawashi people, the believers appreciated the title so much that it stuck.
It's right. So it's almost like Esau calling Jake niggas. And then, we kind of used it and flipped it around. Hey, what's up, my nigga?
Yeah.
It's the same deal.
Or like
It's Jake just, that's how you know it's Jake.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Go ahead.
I'll skip down to 5. It says oh no, that's the end. That's the point.
Kind.
That's the point.
All right, so that we keep it a little order. See, we make the Apollo point. But yeah, we got that. Yeah, we can get this real quick. I mean, we already made the point. Go ahead.
So it says was ancient Antioch a melting pot? It says as a result, Antioch became a melting pot where Greek, Persian, and local influences combined, fostering a diverse urban environment that was pivotal for both trade and cultural development.
So when you look at where Antioch is situated, see if I have a bigger map. Right. So Antioch is situated like right here, right there on the border of Syria and Asia Minor. All right, so you have this Persian influence coming in from the east, but then you have this Greek and this Roman influence. You have this Israelite influence. It's right in the center of all these kingdoms.
Mm-hmm.
So you're gonna have all these, like I said, all these people, all these different ideas, and you had Jake in all these different places.
Yep.
And just to prove that, you had let me see, get my pictures right. There we go, You had this is the third missionary of Paul, and you have him starting here in Antioch and going to the different cities and the different places. Why? Because there was Jake everywhere, and then he doubled back and went to Jerusalem to end the journey. But he had Jake putting them up in places that he went from. He had churches set up in different places in Ephesus and Corinth. Were some major churches. Thessalonica, Berea, Philippi. We know this because why? Not only it says it in the scriptures, but he has books from letters that he wrote to these places.
Thessalonians, the Ephesians,
Exactly.
Galatians.
Philippians.
Yep, yep.
It speaks about the Bereans, how they were more, what did it say? More righteous.
I
They
I can't remember exactly what it said, but that's basically the point. They were more righteous than the other churches because they studied the scriptures and seen if they went through the scriptures to see if the things that were being said were true. You know.
right, right, and you gotta like extrapolate. Yes, there's Jake in all of these places, okay, but this is um, a Greek and Roman territory. So most of these people are of that mindset of the Greek gods, the Roman gods, and then you have these so-called uppity niggas, saying that there's only one true power, what's called monotheism. Mono meaning one, theo or going back to God, one God. All right, so you already don't like Jews, right? Because Jews don't what? Jews don't fuck with heathen. What can we get that real quick? What dealings does you have being a Jew?
Come.
The woman at the well.
What? Okay. This John chapter 4 and verse 9 says, Then said the woman of Samaria unto him, How is it that thou, being a Jew, askest drink of me, which am a woman of Samaria? For the Jews have no dealings with the Samaritans.
Yeah, the Jews that have no dealings with them. So if a Jew from Israel, is going to these different places, he's not even really messing with the locals, unless they're actually keeping the law Jews. You know what I mean? But and this time you have Yahweh after the time of Yahawashi, you have men like Paul who are woke up and they're speaking to the 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 Grecians, as it said, the Hellenistas, the people who look just like Israelites or dark skinned just like Israelites, okay, but are keeping these Greek customs. If you had a straight laced like Old Testament Jew, that's all about the law, he's not even going to talk to another Jake who's keeping these Greek customs because he's going to look at him like he's less than. If we'll look at our own people like we're less than because they're not keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, how you think we'll look at the heathen? So we're known internationally as like these uppity niggas, you know? And then Esau has that hatred, that forever hatred against us.
Okay.
That goes back to my original point that it was easy to spot a Christian. Because if it was a nigga and he was wearing a toga, he's obviously, and I say nigga just for the the vision to put in your head. If you had a black guy who's wearing a toga, he's obviously not a Christian. But if you had a black guy in the same room and he's not wearing that toga, you know he might be a Christian. If that makes sense, you can look at somebody and kind of tell what they
Yeah,
on.
come.
So let me see. I know I'm jumping all around, but I'm trying to. Lord as well, you know what I'm saying? You walking with me and the point can be made. Let me see, we got that. Let's continue in Acts 11.
Okay. So this is Acts chapter 11, verse 21. And the hand of the Lord Yahweh was with them, and a great number believed and turned unto the Lord. Then tidings of these things came unto the ears of the church which was in Jerusalem, and they sent forth Barnabas that he should go as far as Antioch, who, when he came and had seen the grace of the Most High, was glad. and exhorted them all, that with purpose of heart they would cleave unto the Lord. For he was a good man and full of the Holy Spirit and of faith, and much people was added unto the Lord.
Right, and this is in the time of them going to Antioch. So all the people are gathered in Antioch. It was a hotbed for the truth. Go ahead.
Then departed Barnabas to Tarsus for to seek Saul. And when he had found him, he brought him unto Antioch. And it came to pass that a whole year they assembled themselves with the church and taught much people. And the disciples were called Christians first in Antioch.
So did we already got that right?
Yeah, yep,
Kind of,
yep.
kind of. So we got the derogatory meaning. So it wasn't like they called themselves Christians. Like, oh, look at them Christians. You know what I'm saying? They might as well have been saying those niggas
Mhm.
because like I said, you were easily to be pointed out.
Yeah.
You were dark skinned and you didn't wear a toga, or you didn't, dress like a Greek. You know, go ahead.
It says, and in these days came prophets from Jerusalem unto Antioch, and there stood up one of them named Agabus, and signified by the Spirit that there should be a great dearth throughout all the world, which came to pass in the days of Claudius Caesar.
Now I said that because I really wanted to set up a timeline so we can identify where we're at. Bob Kushak, can you get?
So this is from the Anglo-Saxon Chronicle, and this excerpt is dated AD 46. In this year, Claudius, the second Roman emperor, to invade Britain, put much of the island under his control and added the Orkneys to Rome's kingdom. This took place in the fourth year of his rule. In the same year, a great famine in Syria took place, which Luke mentions in his book, The Acts of the Apostles. We also have from Bede or Bede, I'm not sure how you say it, History of the English Church and People. Claudius brought the campaign to conquer Britain to a close in the fourth year of his reign, in the 46th year after the birth of our Lord. This was the year in which a very serious famine occurred in Syria, which is mentioned in the Acts of the Apostles.
Right, right. So I got Claudius right here. It says in the fourth year that'll put it in about 45, 46,
Mhm.
right? Which we know he died in 54, which he was then succeeded by Nero. So this is giving us a good idea on a timeline. Now, so let's fast forward. Let's get the year Rome or the year Paul wrote Romans.
Okay.
Baba Kashah.
What year did Paul? It's this. It says the Apostle Paul wrote the book of Romans around 57 to 58 A.D. while he was in Corinth during his third missionary journey.
Speak on Baba Kashah.
It's here. Let me read a little bit more. It says, the letter of Paul to the Romans, the sixth book of the New Testament, and the longest and doctrinally most significant of Saint Paul, the apostle's writing. It was probably composed at Corinth in about 57 CE. Yeah, and when you go into Acts, there's actually a scripture, that it talks about him wanting to go out to Rome. You know what I'm saying? And when you go into the book of Romans, um, you can cross reference it. If I can find it real fast, while this brother's looking for that, we don't have to go into it. Just to, let me see. It's like Romans chapter 11. No, not chapter 11. Let me see. It's like I'd have trouble finding it, but
All right, so I got this right here from you can read this Baba Kashah.
kind of says, no, Nero did not persecute Jews before the fire in Rome, but he did persecute Christians.
It's the same. It's one and the same. You know, he might not have came down on Jews, but he persecuted Christians. And Baba Kashah, what's that you said from the movie?
Con, yeah, there was I went in the movie Gladiator 2, which is a good movie, definitely recommended. Um there was basically a portion where you had the one of the Caesars in the movie, he wanted to have this woman crucified, and his general told him, "No, don't have her crucified. That's only for thieves and Christians." And this is post Nero, but it was showing that crucifixion was something that was like a Christian, like that was something that was only given to Christians as a form of execution. To execute somebody else,
Yeah, it
but
was
he
it was a
was like,
disgrace.
yeah, like it was disgraceful to be crucified. So it would have been wild, to crucify this woman, because you didn't do that unless it was a Christian. That just shows how Christians were looked at in that time. I'll read that right there. It
Okay.
says, this is from Catholic Productions, Crucifixion, the Shame of the Cross. To despoil someone of their clothing, even down to their underwear, in front of everyone, would be a very, very shameful thing to undergo. Yeah, there's
Mm.
probably something else though. Um,
Um,
but you can just imagine. I mean, look at Yahawashi.
yeah,
He's up on the cross, almost naked, and everybody's jeering at him, throwing things at him, slapping him. That was like what crucifixion was like. It was a public hanging, basically.
yeah,
You know.
yeah. It's humiliation. That's really what it is. Like they put the crown of thorns on him.
Hmm.
In the purple. You know what I'm saying? And they say, "Oh, look at him. He's the king of the Jews. He's the king of the." It was a very shameful death.
Yeah, to where like other forms of execution were more. I'm not sure the word to use, but you could think of being like beheaded.
Yeah,
That's not the
that's what
same. The
that's
being.
quick
Yeah,
a
it's,
quick
it's
death.
yeah, it's just like that. Even if it's in front of a crowd, being beheaded was more. It wasn't as shameful as the slow, shameful death of a crucifixion.
Right, right. To have, you know, your wrist, because they didn't do the hands. A lot of times they'll show like uh I'll say Jesus on the cross. You know what I'm saying? Because we don't put Yahweh Shai back on the cross. It's a shameful thing. But they'll show the hands with the nails, but they didn't nail your hands because your hands would like the nail would go through
Yeah,
your
it
hands.
wouldn't hold. It
It couldn't
wasn't enough to
hold you.
hold
It
you.
wasn't
Yeah.
enough to hold you. So they did it at your wrists, and you had all those veins in your wrist, but your wrist can hold you. So to have your wrist nailed to the cross, your feet nailed to the cross, it's a slow, painful death. And a
Hmm.
lot of times they did have to. They broke the legs,
Hmm.
which is going to the scripture of Yahushua died before his legs was broken and no bones were broken.
Right. Yep.
But
Yeah, because the unblemished sacrifice.
exactly. So um, go ahead.
Oh no, just and then it was like a cultural thing as well. Like Yahushua was put up on the cross, and then it was like he mentioned, thieves and Christians. It was something that people who was looked down on in society. That's just how they were executed. So, on top of it just being a disgraceful way to go out on its own, the people that would have to go out like that just made the form of execution even more disgraceful.
Right, right. So as I was saying before, um, Claudius died in 54. All right. So we know we said that Romans was written in 57,
57,
58
yeah, 57, 58.
during the time of Nero. All right, who we see he let me see, where was it at? He persecuted Christians,
Mm-hmm.
right? So let's get this in Romans 1. And matter of fact, it's the points in 8, but you got to start back up like 4, I believe.
This is Romans chapter 1 and verse 4.
Yeah,
It says,
start at 3.
Romans chapter 1 verse 3, concerning his son Yahushua Hamashiach our Lord, which is made of the seed of David according to the flesh.
Right, he was born as the descendant of David through his father Joseph.
Mhm.
Okay, like just like everybody else was born according to the flesh.
and declared to be the Son of the Most High with power, according to the Spirit of holiness, by the resurrection from the dead, by whom we have received grace and apostleship for obedience to the faith among all nations for his name, among whom are ye also the called of Yahawashi Hamashiach.
Which you know what I'm saying, or who the Yahawashiites,
Right.
the Christians,
Yep.
so to speak. All right, the followers of Yahawashi, who in this time, yeah, you may have had some confusion of faces because we were in all kingdoms. You may have had a Jake who maybe laid with a white woman, and his son laid with a white woman, his son laid with a white woman, and he may have woken up to the faith. But for the most part, you just had Jake who looked like Jake who were in these other places.
Where we're at verse 6.
Uh,
Or I'll
yeah,
start. Okay.
come.
It says, among whom are ye also the called of Yahawashi Hamashiach, to all that be in Rome, beloved of the Most High, called to be saints. Grace to you and peace from the Most High our Father and the Lord Yahawashi Hamashiach. So verse 8, it says, first, I thank my power through Yahawashi Mashiach for you all, that your faith is spoken of throughout the whole world. And where is this written to? The Romans. So we have to think this is written to the Christians in Rome. So that's why it's mentioning that their faith is spoken of throughout the whole world, because this is right in the hub of where the persecution was going on at.
Right, right. You're right in the belly of the beast, so to speak. You're right in the emperor's face.
Yep.
Saying, "Hey, man, fuck Jupiter." You know what I'm saying? We're spreading this monotheism. We're talking about the one true power. All right, and his son. You know, everybody's hearing about this guy who died and came back. You know, and and again, it's these quote uppity niggas. From their perspective, saying that there's only one true God and He's only coming for them, and like you, just the way people look at us when we say only Israelites can be saved. They're saying only Christians, only people who are following Yahweh Shai can be saved. So just the same way that we get these dirty looks today, they were getting these dirty looks at these times. So, and this is all around the same time, and it's going on. And matter of fact, can we let me see? Um, yeah. So you have the a picture of the Roman uh empire, and all these different places. You imagine Jake in all these different places, and really waking up just the same as today. You have Jake and all around America. All right, let's get a. All right, you got Jake and all these different cities. All right, you have camps set up in all these different cities today. Here we are in Omaha, Nebraska. Of course, we know the truth came from New York and it spread like a wildfire. Boston and Dallas, L.A., Seattle, Chicago, and all the various other places in the Midwest. We're in every major city. And not to say that GMS is the end all be all, because you have other followers. Just like Yahawashi had his camp, and John had his camp. You know, at the end of the day, it's about following Yahweh Shem Yahawashi. So just like in those times, you had evangelists, you had like Paul, on his journey, waking people up. We're doing the same thing. Except for these times, we don't have to necessarily, come from Omaha and go to Pierre, South Dakota, you know, go to Minneapolis or go to Miles City, Montana, because we have what? We have the internet. So it's going out throughout the whole world. All right. I believe that's all I wanted to get with this. You have anything else that you wanted to add to
Oh,
it?
we got the
Baba
situation with
Rashad.
Nero.
Baba Rashad.
So this is from the CatholicCompany.com. It says of the first Christian martyrs of the church at Rome. Like the martyrdom of the apostles Saint Peter and Saint Paul, a great number of Christians perished at the hands of Nero during the terrible persecution that lasted from the year 64 to 68 AD.
Right. So this is a little bit after where we read in Romans. They were already, the whole world was already speaking about the faith of them, and then come on, a couple of years down the line, and it didn't get no lighter.
Yeah.
You know, it just turned up.
Yeah, it's like a major incident. You know,
Okay.
it says this was the first major persecution of the newly founded church at Rome. The holy men and women are also called the proto martyrs of Rome. Let me skip to a good point. It says the Christian persecution began in the summer of 64 AD when a great fire blazed throughout Rome and destroyed much of the city. The insane tyrant Nero was blamed by the citizenry for lighting the fire to satisfy his own twisted amusement. To shift the blame from himself, Nero accused the Christians who were already disliked as the perpetrators.
Yeah. So it was like, hey, we already don't like them. Go ahead and blame them. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's gonna care. Who cares about, again, these niggas?
Yep. Says the historian Tacitus describes the brutality suffered by these first Christian martyrs as a result of this accusation. Yet no human effort, no princely largesse, nor offerings to the gods could make that infamous rumor disappear that Nero has somehow ordered there. Therefore, in order to abolish that rumor, Nero falsely accused and executed with the most exquisite punishments those people called Christians who were infamous for their abominations. Then it stops the sentence there. It says,
Right. So it's not saying that we were actually abominable,
right,
but we were abominable within the eyes of the Romans.
con.
You know why? Because we didn't fuck with the Roman way. We didn't run to the same excessive riot. You know, we didn't offer drinks to the gods and participate in their orgies and do all that other BS.
Mhm. Says therefore, right, is he when in Rome do as the Romans do. We wasn't
Exactly.
doing as the Romans do.
Exactly.
You know? Says
Which is why you can be easily pointed out
mhm.
to not be.
Exactly right, because we wasn't right. Says therefore, first those were seized who admitted their faith, and then using the information they provided, a vast multitude were convicted.
Right. So if you openly said, "Yeah, I'm a Christian," or round him up, he was one of the people who started the fire, and then you got brutally executed. You did. Go ahead.
It says, and perishing, they were additionally made into sports. They were killed by dogs by having the hides of beasts attached to them.
Yeah. So like they put him in the arena, and let dogs and lions and animals just rip them apart. That's a terrible death.
Yeah.
For the amusement of the fucking Roman people,
Yeah.
or wherever they was at.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Or they were nailed to crosses or
Another
yep.
disgraceful death.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Or set aflame. And when the daylight passed away, they were used as nighttime lamps.
Right, which is where you get the Roman candle from.
Yep.
All right, you have a whole street lined up that says Jake on fire, to light the way as like a street lamp.
Says so going to the next paragraph, it says some martyrs were burned as living torches in the emperor's gardens, some crucified, others were fed to wild animals. These martyrs died even before Saint Peter and Paul, and therefore it is said of them that they are the disciples of the apostles whom the holy Roman church sent to their Lord before the apostles' death. That's basically the point. Let me see if there's anything else. Real fast, just skimming through it. Yes.
Hey, and just as those brothers in those times gave their life, all right, the persecution is coming in these times.
Mm-hmm.
The scriptures speak about how the enemy should come in like a flood. The scriptures speak about how you should have tribulation 10 days.
Yep.
I should throw some of you in prison. And the apostle Tahar always compares uh, Nero to Trump. If Nero did that in these times, everything is lining up too perfect. All of his cabinet people, are I'll say practitioners of the MOT to the B. They all have some kind of interest. That's what they're into, so to speak. The AI and Neuralink and things like that. So hey, man,
That
we
NWO.
yeah, we coming into these times, man. Um,
This last paragraph, I think this is good to end it off on.
kind of
It says, "It was a terrible time of suffering, but also a time that purified and strengthened the church through the power of the Holy Spirit.
hey, which is gonna be Jacob's trouble for us.
The Most High used the sacrifice of these holy men and women who died like their Savior, Yahawashi, to lay the indestructible foundations of His church."
Hey, and the dead in Yahawashi is gonna rise first.
Yep,
So the brothers on this side that gotta go through it, their works do follow.
yep. Says Yahawashi promised that the gates of hell would never prevail against it. People of all backgrounds, from all countries, from all stations of life, were willing to die gruesome deaths for the sake of one man,
And they were
Yahawashi.
all Jake.
They was all, yep,
You know
come,
what I'm saying? Put that on it. You know
yeah,
what I'm saying? They were all Jake. It was you didn't have, you know, white people from Athens, so-called white people, Edomites from Athens dying for Yahawashi.
yeah,
All right, you didn't have random Chinese and random East Indian people dying for Yahawashi. All right, you had Jake, who was born in Athens, who looked like an Israelite, who spoke Greek, who his father's father may have worshipped, his own daddy, his own brothers and sisters may have, worshipped the Greek gods. But he woke up to who he is. Just like us in America, I'll take was it one from a family or two from
yeah,
a,
yeah,
how
yeah.
does it go?
Here, I'll grab it real
Bible
fast.
shot, we getting it on that.
Come. This is Matthew 24 verse I'll start at 40. It says then shall two be in the field, the one shall be taken and the other left. Two women shall be grinding at the mill, the one shall be taken and the other left.
That's not the one I'm looking for. That's good, but it's like I'll take one from a family or two from a family, and
Oh yeah. Salaki, okay. Um I don't even know what to search. Let me see.
yeah, one from yep, here it is.
Con says Jeremiah 3 and 14. Turn, O backsliding children, said the Lord, for I am married unto you, and I will take you one of a city and two of a family, and I will bring you to Zion.
Right, so it's small churches. Okay, everyone's not gonna make it, but that one man who made a turn from that city, or those two men are from that family, they're the ones who are gonna get the salvation. They're the ones who are gonna, triumph in this thing. So, Lord's word was edifying. And with that being said, we give all praise, honor, and glory unto
Unto
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
by
by
Hashem
Hashem,
Yahweh Shai,
Yahushai,
by
by
Hashem
Hashem
Rakar.
Rakadash.
Double honors to the apostles and elders of GMS. Salutes and honors to the elect, all the brothers across the four corners who are enduring in truth and sincerity of the men and women who follow. Hey, Shalom.
Shalom.